Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie. I thought I'd do something special considering 2 years ago I lost a baby to miscarriage. I'm going to go into a three-part thing so that you can understand and so other people can understand and it might help other people that have gone through this more than once. So the first part I'm going to go into is a miscarriage that happened in 2010. I was seeing he's my husband now, but in my eyes, he was my boyfriend, although he hadn't realized it himself yet. And in November, we thought I was pregnant. And I was assuming in the back of my mind that I was. Silly things were happening, like the smell of sweet things was making me very nauseous. And so it was very strange because I was seeing someone before him, and we assumed if I was pregnant that it belonged to the guy before. So in December, I believe it was December 1st, I found out officially that yes, I was pregnant. I had got a test and it came out positive. I was nervous, and I know at the time I didn't know it was his, and so I had made the decision that I was going to give the baby up for adoption when it was born. I didn't see a point in keeping it if it didn't belong to someone I cared about, and I had no means of taking care of it myself. I had talked to some friends that I've known for a very long time in California, and they were willing to adopt the baby once it was born. My ex-husband, who I lived with as a roommate, took me to go visit my grandparents, and I went to talk to them about it, and my grandpa, of course, had a fit because I am the baby of the family, and he was worried. And I already was starting to figure out that it did belong to my boyfriend, and just something nagging at me and things of that nature. And although I didn't realize it, and I think he was there visiting me, after a while he was starting to get attached to it. So I went to go visit my mother after that and explained to her the situation and told her I was going to give it up, and she actually said that would be a good thing, not knowing whether I'd be able to take care of it myself or not. And so I went and headed home, and I did fine. Still got the nausea over, sweet stuff. I didn't get sick for any specific. I didn't throw up or anything like that, which was good. About a week passed, and I felt really bad pains in my stomach, to the point where I could not walk around my own trailer without wanting to fall over. My ex-husband had gone out on a date with his girlfriend that he had, and I didn't know it. So I'm walking around freaking out, wondering where in the heck he was. And when I, looked out the windows, he wasn't. The car wasn't there. which made things worse. So I called the friends in California that were going to adopt the baby, and I let them know that I was having a miscarriage because something was just not right. I was bleeding all over the place. And my ex got back to the trailer with his girlfriend, and I didn't even look at him right away. I looked right at her and I said, "Can you take me to the hospital? Something is wrong." They got me to the hospital, and I was still in a lot of pain and bleeding a lot. And it was just horrible. Had an ultrasound done and all that stuff, and luckily it was only 5 weeks in, but I was in so much pain that it felt like I was being torn apart inside. And come to find out, after all the tests and everything that they did, the ultrasounds, all that stuff, I felt it weird that my ex at the time would not leave my bedside with his girlfriend in the waiting room. But at the time I didn't care, really, because, well, I needed somebody with me. After that, got back. They told me I could get dressed and all that stuff, and told me basically it was all tissue that I was gonna have to bleed out, and I was told that the baby was only 5 weeks in, and at that point I realized that it belonged to my boyfriend, and I completely lost it. I was crying as I was trying to explain to my friends back in California that who it belonged to, and that I was very sorry that I had lost her. I got home, and my first thought was call him and let him know. Weird thing about that, he was going through, as most of you know, Job Corps at the time, and so I found it weird that, knowing that he had classes the next morning, when I called him, he answered the phone, which was, even he said, was very strange for him to do. And I proceeded to tell him that I had a miscarriage, and then I proceeded to let him know that the baby was his, and that I was only 5 weeks in when we lost the baby. It was the first time I ever heard him cry, which made it worse because I cried yet again. The follow-up was kind of strange, they're telling me I'm just going to have to bleed out the tissue and stuff. And of course every doctor says, well, no sex for 6 weeks. Which was fine. I didn't seem to bother me any. But the hard part was knowing that in a couple weeks he was going to be going to Colorado to visit family. But it was the first and hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with, and that is how I'm going to end part 1, and we'll see you on the next part.